Hey everyone, Les from Comfortable Shoes Studio here with you today, doing another little episode about budget art journaling. And I got thinking about the sorts of things that back in the day when I was just starting out, what are the things that I would have added to my budget art journaling setups to round it out, to flesh it out, to add to it? What sorts of materials would I add? And so I went back to Dollar Tree and I went back to Five Below with the specific thought of like, okay, I've got $10. What am I going to add to my art journaling kit to flesh it out? And I got a couple of things. So I also went to the art supply store, the like really nice one, and it was a lot harder to fill out my art journaling kit with stuff from there. But I went with like a couple of things that are a little different, but that you can also pick up at, say, Staples or other places. And just got to think about like what you want to add to your art journaling setup. So the first thing I started thinking about at Dollar Tree were these chalk writers. These chalk writers, they come in a single pack, so you get one color for $1.25. And in the case of these, I did a pink, a purple, and a white. They are, I'm going to put this microphone down for a second, and we'll see how obnoxious that's going to sound for you. Terribly sorry. So the chalk writer reminds me very much of all of the water-soluble wax crayons that you can get. You know, you got this tube, right? Plastic tube with an obscene looking amount of product in there, and it twists up and twists down. Like I've often said with things like the gel sticks and things, it is wasteful. The plastic tube, these aren't refillable. I do find that annoying. You are going to burn through these pretty quickly. It is a much thinner amount of product in this than the other ones. That said, they function very similarly to the mixed media gel sticks. The colors blend well. There's a decent amount of pigmentation in them. So these are a good addition in my book. They, you could pick up 5 of them or 8? You could get 8 of them for $10. So you could get 8 different colors if your Dollar Tree has 8 different colors. I have noticed that the Dollar Tree near me doesn't always have all of the colors that I want or are normally available. So the next thing that I picked up, this is from Five Below. And Five Below has a selection of different watercolors. In this case, this is the Chameleon Watercolors Color Shifting Iridescent Palette. So you get one paint palette with 12 different colors of watercolor in it. And it was $5. So yeah, this is a $5 set. It also comes with a little brush, which I may have lost already. And the colors are fun. You know, they are iridescent. They'd be great as a top coat or as a top layer on a page to add a little bling to it. So those are nice. No, here it is. The brush is not very nice. This will become a fine glue brush, or fine pointed glue brush. There are a couple of hairs that it won't point up properly because there are like 3 hairs that need to be cut out. So anyway, it comes with a brush, which is nice, and 12 different colors. That's cool. There is not a lot of paint in here. These little pans are very shallow. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think I can pop them out. I did try to pop them out, but it's a very, very small amount of pigment. But they are fun. I have tested them out. They're not super pigmented, and they are relatively transparent. So they work better on a dark background. All right. So the next thing that I picked up that I think is a great addition to any art journaling kit are these. water brushes. They had a set of 4 water brushes. So there's a large round, there's a medium round, there's a small round, and then a small flat. They were easy to fill up. They hold a decent amount of water, and they work okay. I did find when I got mine that there was a lot of molding flash around these tips, and I just took a lighter and melted that just a little bit, very carefully. If you do use a lighter on your water brushes from Five Below, do it at your own discretion. You can ruin them quite easily. You can also just clip off that extra flash, but I felt that melting it would work better for me. So you figure that out. So those were $5. That's a great add-on for any art journaling kit. So $5, and then this set of watercolors. That would be a lot of fun in a journal. That's a nice addition. Then the thing that I got that's kind of a dog, and I am quite unhappy with, is this 13 count watercolor marker set. These are terrible. The tips are really rough and damage the page. They're really wet and juicy, so they soak through everything. Let me show you a little bit of what those do. Let's see if I can actually find the page. So here's a little test page where I scribbled with the fine point side, which was a little better. But notice that on my journal paper, they don't lift particularly well. You can still see all of the lines that I made. They don't look great. The color that is lifted is really pale and not very pigmented. And then you can see where I added water, it soaked through to the page behind. This is another test page, and one of the things that you may not be able to see on camera here is that there are these little darker blobs in here, and that is where the tip actually damaged the paper. It was pulling up fibers, and that is not a problem I have had with this sketchbook at all with any other medium. I've worked watercolors in here, and yeah, the paper gets soft and a little pulpy, but I've never had a regular brush or other marker damage this paper in that way. You can actually, here's a chunk of paper fiber. Gross. And so this is a sketch that I had worked on with these. I added water, really unhappy with it. As you can probably see, it soaked through like bananas, and just was not fun to work with at all. And I had attempted another one here. And so, I always reuse those pages. I'm going to layer over the top of it. Some of this will remain visible because it is an art journal and we're talking about progress here. I'm not trying to be perfect. So this is like what regular markers look like. I mean, and they do soak through, but I will, collage over the top of that and still use that page. But this, yeah, I'm not a fan. So like you can see, I'm collaging over these pages that I'm not happy with, just adding some layers, adapting them a little bit so that they are more interesting to me. Here are those watercolors that I was testing out and talking about, and I'm sure the shimmer is not going to show up on screen, but they are nice and shimmery. So the other thing I have done is I've gone through and I've swatched all of these materials that I've picked up for this budget series. So these are those mixed media gel sticks from Walmart. These are the acrylic markers from Five Below. These are the watercolor marker sets, which I don't recommend. They are really awful unless you are working on really, really smooth hot press paper. These are going to be really rough to use. This is the Bic brush pens. Crayons, just layering the crayons over each other, the neon crayons. And then I did some testing of the chalk writers and Marabou art crayons. I've got a couple of those. They're significantly more expensive. And I started a test page with, these are receipt pages or receipt prints. And then the chalk writers on top of it. Not a huge amount of pigment, but fun to play with nonetheless. So those are the things that I would consider adding to my art journaling kit on kind of a tight budget. If I were just adding, $10 here, $10 there. The one good thing about the watercolor marker set is that it did come with 3 relatively nice water brushes. So there's a big wide one, which works pretty well. There's a small one with a small handle, and then there's a longer round brush with a larger handle. So I'm pretty happy with these particular water brushes. They're not particularly well made. Again, lots of flashing on the handle, which I hit with a lighter to melt down. Do use care if you decide that you are going to do that. I take no responsibility if you ruin your 5 Below watercolor brushes. These will work with watercolors, watercolor markers, even the Bic markers you can activate and move around with these. So that's what made the set worth it. These 3 water brushes. I'd also consider adding some crayons. Whether you like crayons, if you don't like crayons, obviously don't add them into your kit. But I think crayons, especially the crayons that are available now, $1.25 at 5 Below, you can get a range of really nifty colors that work well in a variety of instances. The crayons for construction paper lay down a really nice line. You can get some really fun stuff with that. So those are the things that I would add on to my art journaling kits, these really basic kits. There you go. What I'd add on. Anyway, if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts, what are the things that you would add on to your basic art journaling kit on payday? You got $10 to spend, you got $20 to spend. What are you adding on to your art journaling kit at either a budget location or at a regular art supply store? What are you going to get at Michael's? So anyway, with that, I say thank you. If you have enjoyed this episode, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like. If you enjoy what I do, you'd like to see me do more episodes like this, head on over to my Ko-fi page. It is linked down below. Buy me a cup of coffee. And, everything I make on coffee ends up going back into the channel. So with that, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been supporting me over the years and sending me materials to test, materials to try, and have bought me a coffee. I really appreciate it. And with that, I'll see you next time. Thanks and bye.